there, fellow music fans, or maybe some holdover film fans. Now, the last time I did a music review, I got general good reception. I've done like 2 to 3 now, and I actually got some people to go out and listen to the music that I was reviewing, which is really awesome. So I figured I'd do another one, because there is a portion of my audience that is very much into my music review, so here is yet another one. Music-wise, today was a very special day for me, and I was trying to make this a big surprise what it is, but you guys read the title. I don't even know why people bother trying to make the topic of a video a surprise with the title, especially reviews of things. But whatever. Today was the 45th anniversary of my all-time favorite album ever, Rubber Soul! It's probably also going to guess it by the shirt. It's one of like 3 or 4 Rubber Soul shirts I have. They make a lot of them. I don't know why, but it's awesome because I love the album. Actually, my very first Beatles shirt ever was a Rubber Soul shirt. It's like the most comfortable shirt ever. I shit you not. It actually started out like as a shirt I would wear around, but like I was really young at the time. I think I was in like 6th grade or something, around probably younger. But it was so big on me that I'd wear it around and it just looked goofy. So eventually I started like, you know, using it for other activities. I don't know. And then it became my gym shirt for like a week or 2, and then I was like, no, I feel I'm disrespecting them by such a crappy class. And then now it resides as like my sleeping casual shirt, because it's just that comfortable. I feel like I add a lot of these music reviews with personal accounts of things. I don't know if that adds any depth to the review or not. Whatever. Into the actual music here. So at this point, the Beatles have Please Please Me with the Beatles. There's something called Meet the Beatles. It has a few extra tracks on there. They have Hard Day's Night. They have Beatles for Sale. They have Help. And now the 6th album, Rubber Soul, is released. Now this was a big game changer. Now up to this point, albums, music, where it was just about putting out a couple of really popular and successful singles, riding the fame off of that, and then albums, they didn't matter. You would just put them with filler and whatever other singles you would release on there. Now Rubber Soul is I think it's the beginning of classic rock, because classic rock, by almost definition, is album rock, and it really started by adding no fluff. That is what's great about them. There's no fluff. There's no filler. Every song's meant to be there, even though most of them are short, which has a great pace to it. It's such an amazing album because of that reason, by the fact that it's just so influential. I'm talking really fast. I'm not saying anything against the other Beatles albums, and I think they were very good about not adding filler, but they were spending so much time touring that they would have to do a lot of covers. Like, Beatles for Sale has a lot of great original songs on it, but at the same time it has a lot of covers, because they just really didn't have a lot of time to write songs. And once they did, they started branching out more, and this is where we got this stuff from. You can start seeing them starting to break ground here, starting to fade into new things, not being that kitschy rock and roll mop-top group anymore. They're starting to get more deep into those lyrics. They were definitely Bob Dylanized a year or so back before, or right when they started recording this. And I think that's a great influence on the album as well. Eventually then they go on to Revolver, Sgt. Pepper. So I think these 3 years are some of their best music they put out, and just lead up to this huge transformation for them. You have Rubber Soul, you have Revolver, then you have Sgt. Pepper, the biggest transformation that they made, and it was just a great time. Those are my 3 favorite albums from them, not in sequential order, but yes. Honestly, I never really knew what it was about this album. I just knew I loved it. It illustrates a time and place for me. I could listen to some of the songs in here and just feel like I am years back in exact time and exact place. It is just magic. That is the magic of all music, not just this music, even though this music is indeed very awesome. Well, it is personal to me. I remember I was really obsessed with Sgt. Pepper. That was my album for a while. And then I got, I had a whole bunch of Beatles albums. I started off with Magical Mystery Tour, which is a very underrated album. And then I got to Rubber Soul. And something just really struck a chord with me. I was obsessed with this album for a long time, but I had so many other albums to went to. I went back later after listening to a whole bunch of albums, and I just found that I loved it. I just continued to listen to it so many times. It is my most played album, and it's my most played songs. I actually calculated just for shits and gigs. I put, the play count on iTunes. They have all the play counts. I added every single one up for all the 14 songs. And the collective play count for each song altogether on that album was well over 2,000 listens. It's in no way conceptual, but at the same time, each of the songs has a general feel to them. I feel like it's a very folky album. It definitely, yeah, it has that definitely feel to it. I think folk can be looked down upon in some ways in a certain way, but this is folk rock. I think, yes, like Bob Dylan. I love folk rock. I think that's something that's really great about this, but make no mistake, this is rock. It just got that folk feel to it. There's a lot of depth in lyrics. You know, it goes from being really upbeat at times to really low down. You have songs like Girl, and then you have songs like I'm Looking Through You, just opposite ends of the spectrum, which is another great thing about it. This being my favorite album, back in like July when I was really getting into collecting vinyls, I went out to a different store. The first store where I got, you know, my original stuff, they didn't have Rubber Soul. I actually got the Abbey Road like remaster or whatever, and I went out looking for Rubber Soul. I did find it. The only bad thing about it is that this is the US version, and the ones you'll hear now are all the original UK versions. The difference is it only has 12 songs. So it removes 4 songs, and it replaces 2 of the 4 songs with songs from Help. And I love Help and all, but it just throws off my favorite album. They replace it with I've Just Seen a Face and It's Only Love, and I both love those songs, but they work with this album, but at the same time, the other songs work so much better. And they took out Nowhere, man, and Drive My Car. And speaking of Drive My Car, a couple years back on Blog TV, I was going kind of crazy and was requested to do a Beatles song, and this is how it turned out. Scary, I know. Most bands at the time were British Invasion, most big bands, and so almost all of their music, Sgt. Pepper was actually the first album where all the same songs were on all the different countries' albums. All the same ones. Now, you know, this one, there was different, the US version, different the UK version, and I really am not a big fan of that, but they even changed the album cover, the tinting. And I love the album cover, how they did the stretch. It was kind of like a lean-back camera. I was reading about it the other day. I don't want to go too much into that, but I just think I love this picture of them. So awesome, and I feel like it represents that same general feel I get from listening to the album. And I love the letters, even though the original is orange. I think that's kind of cool, but I just love everything about this album. Just kind of quick look at the vine there. Like, even this tinting is different. This tinting is more of a beige. That one's more of a dark brown. This really does just have some of the best songs they've recorded on it. I absolutely adore Nowhere, man. As I think I already mentioned, the word, incredibly catchy. A great George Harrison on here. Think for yourself. If I Needed Someone. In My Life has my vote for, like, one of the top 3 most beautiful songs ever written. I mean, Run for Your Life is just awesome. I mean, a song about spying on, stalking, and murdering your ex-girlfriend if you find her with another man. I mean, what fun! It's an album where the song before and the song after complement and contrast the song directly in the middle. It is just beautiful to every extent. It is great just to listen to straight through because it's not very long. You know, most of the songs are quick, but they're just all equally amazing pieces of art. It just shows the Beatles' genius, how great of a musicians these guys were. I love this album. It shows their development. It shows how strong they were. It shows their yearning to show this more poetic side of them. It gives George Harrison a lot more stuff. And also, back to the album thing, there weren't any big single #1s released off this album, which I love. It's a personal album for me. It struck such a great chord with me. It's got, you know, it's deep within me. It'll be my favorite album forever. I don't think I can encounter anything that I could love more just because of personal connection, and the songs on it are just purely some of the best they've ever made, some of the best ever made. And I really encourage anybody who hasn't heard it to go out and listen to it. It is a more popular Beatles album, but it's hard to find a not popular Beatles album. But if you haven't heard it, I definitely recommend it. It is an amazing piece of work. I could go on talking about it for seriously hours. I actually made a review back in June. For some reason, I never uploaded it. I don't know why. But I decided to do one now for its 45th anniversary. Rubber Soul is a true achievement of music. It shows what music can be, and it influenced music so ever greatly for years to come, influencing one of many influences from the most influential band of all time to a great generation of music makers. If only it could be that way today. By my descriptions, you think I need to give this album a rating, or if you're wondering if I gave this album a rating, what it would be, well then you weren't listening close enough, because if I didn't give my favorite album of all time like a perfect rating, then wow, I'd be a nitpicky bastard. Also, I almost jizzed in my pants when I heard I'm Looking Through You playing to the opening of Ghost Town back in 2008. Thank you, John. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, George. And thank you, Ringo, for giving me something that I will hold near and dear for my entire life and has a great influence on me as a person. Thank you. It's kind of sad the 40th anniversary of his death is coming up on Tuesday. I hate you, Mark David Chapman, with every fiber of my being. So say the word, and you'll be free. Say the word, and be like me. So, it's an album where the song before and the song after complements and oh god! Damn you, spinny chair!